That's it. Oh, no. Well, that was a really great thought, because it doesn't work that way. Every single man that I dated was one form or another of my father. And I would look at after the breakup and go, how in the world did I draw that person in? That's just like my dad. And then I'd start to go, but I wasn't going to date my dad. I was going to date somebody different.
Common story.
Sound familiar?
Not for me, fortunately.
I know. So, I got sick of it. And it wasn't just dating. I'd get a boss. Didn't matter if it was male or female. As they started to act like my dad, guess what would get activated within me? All that same response. So I tried therapy. And I had some good therapists and I had some lousy therapists. There's both out there. That's not anything new. I got to understand it. I could conceptualize what had happened and really get it. But it didn't take away, all the understanding in here did not take away the emotions. And I was determined that I was going to overcome this because I didn't like how I felt when I was like that. So I kept looking. I tried everything out there. I tried anything that had, if you said, okay, Mary, try this, I tried it. I'm not kidding. If it had body work with it, I did it. If I did integrated breath work, I did group therapies, honestly, you name it, if you'd probably ask me, I'd say, oh yeah, I tried that. Some of it reduced some of it, which thank God for it, because as at least that edge was getting less intense, it made it easier for me to deal with it, but it was never fully gone.
You kept confronting it mentally.
Something always sooner or later would activate it. And I think this isn't supposed to be like this. It's like I instinctively knew. So 16 years ago, I found my first teacher. And in my first session, when I got the release that we had to pick 3 issues, so Dad's one of them. At the end of that session, I had no hatred for my father anymore.
Wonderful.
I could take a step back and objectively look at him and go, wow, I wonder what was going on in his world.
A deeper understanding.
A deeper understanding. And at least a neutrality to be able to be objective about it, rather than I hate this man.
Yes.
Why doesn't he come through on his promises? Why does he have to be so mean? And all this agitation coming up. It wasn't there anymore. And I'd look for it. And then I'd be around my dad. And we started to have conversations. My father's dead now, but probably it was about 12 years ago is when the big turn started to happen. Because the more I got in touch with who my father was, and I could talk from my heart to him, even though he couldn't talk at a very deep level. And it didn't matter. He went to the depth that he was capable of. When he passed, I love my father to pieces. I can look at the memories of when he was harmful to me. It could be somebody else's life. I could talk with him and go as deep as he could go with me and feel genuine love in my heart for this man and realize what a good man he was and is and always will be. I couldn't get there until I cleared out my pain. Now here's the interesting thing, Gigi. My dad didn't do a bit of work until probably the last 2 years of his life. He found this method, I wish I could remember the name of it because I would encourage anyone to do it. And perhaps if somebody writes to me, I'll remember what it is. But it was like every week for 2 months, there was this course he went to. And that's when he really started to confront some of his demons. Minus that, my dad didn't do anything to change. I did. But the minute I did things to change, my father changed. So when I was in college, I had decided, I was at a small private college for the first 2 years, and there was an event going on. It was like a dinner theater type of thing. So I invited my parents because I was in a small town that was close to where I was growing up. My parents came. And at the end of the night, for the first time ever, I went up to my dad. I always did this with my mom. I gave him a hug and I said, Dad, I love you. My dad hugged me back. I could have fallen on the floor if he wasn't holding me. And he said, I love you too. I never said that to my dad before because I hated this man and I was so angry with him and he hurt me so much. And that's when I started to realize, wow, okay, this isn't so bad. Now this is all pre-stuff getting to when I found the shamanic work that really cleared the last bit. But the point I'm trying to make is as you take steps that clear things out, the people around you change.
I hope everybody's really paying attention that the shift is on its way.
The shift is on its way and it's internal within you. How many times you go, it's your fault. You did this to me.
Yep.
If only you wouldn't do this, I wouldn't react like this. I'm sorry to tell you, that's not the way it works. You clean up your side of the fence. You clean up what's going on in here, what's going on in here. That's why I love Marshall's work too. Watch what you're saying to people. You can say the same thing, but take out the edge of your tone and take words out that are nasty and blaming and shaming. And you know what? They may respond differently.
Isn't that marvelous?
It's the greatest gift we have.
That's right. The power of our words, let alone our thoughts.
Exactly.
And transforming
yes.
all the pain that we acquire.
Exactly. So what happened in my family is once I did that with my dad, and I had such a great result, every time I saw my dad, I would give him a hug goodbye and tell him I loved him. So sooner or later, you know, there's going to be a family holiday that the entire family's there, and I did this in front of them, and they all watched as my dad hugged me back and said goodbye. And one by one, all of my siblings started to do the same thing with my dad. So when my dad passed, every single one of my siblings had a great relationship with him as well because they put out something different. And this isn't even with having the emotions back under control. So I'm letting you know, if you really put effort into putting steps of doing the right thing,
Yes.
being who you really are, not the layer that's over you, your life will change drastically.
Really staying connected with the heart, with the
Yes.
soul, and with the meaning and purpose of
Yes.
contributing to everybody's happiness.
Absolutely, Gigi. So here's what we say. You have to connect the heart with the head. You can't do one or the other. And this is where people get it a little mixed up too. They think, oh, I'm only going to come from the heart. And it's squishy and mushy and yucky. How many people are, oh, it's sticky sweet to be around them, and you think, oh my God, I feel like I need a shower. Or the other one, they're all from the head, like a Mr. Spock. My brain, my logical brain tells me, no, the way it works is the heart drives the head. Heart Math is an institute that they've actually done studies around the heart and the physical heart as well, and they know the field. Talk about energy. Okay, here's the woo-woo-y part again, people, but here's the science. This is the science.
Yeah.
They do research. They can measure the energy that comes out of the heart area is the biggest area of energy where it comes out. Nowhere else in the body is so much energy coming out. Well, that's your power, where the energy is. If you say something with no energy behind your words, you know there's no power behind it.
There you go.
So the heart.
Protect your heart at all costs.
Protect your heart at all costs. No, let your heart out. Let your heart out. But now combine it with the head, because what's supposed to happen is you don't get rid of the head. You join the head and the heart so that the heart drives the head. You'll feel with your heart, and your head will put words to it. So when you learn, like with Marshall, put positive words with this positive feeling that's around your heart. And if you get rid of the junk around it that keeps you going, blah, 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 your relationships will change.
I love that. And that's huge, just what you said. Marshall's always referring